We're in the additions to Milk Hill here. There's a negative spaced rectangle here and a larger one on the outside. There is no way in here. And we've got these rectangles, these channels, all over this portion of the formation. They're freestanding, they have not been entered. Really stumped for words at this point. The phone? Well, there's no channels, this is the point. I walked around the outside of it, but you can't get in these things. Here you go. This is just a monster. Have a look at this. There's no way into this circle. So how did they make this?
There's definitely an involvement of the military in Wiltshire in the crop circles. Even if it's only to see if the crop circle community is behaving itself.
And then, of course, as time went on, there were more and more examples of army helicopters heard by farmers at night, where they wouldn't know why the helicopters were hovering outside, to find in the morning that what they were hovering over was a new circle that had appeared outside on their land, which meant the Ministry of Defence, in the dark, knew they had a new crop circle on their land.
To me, that suggests they're interested. They're not just flying past or using it as a reference point in a landscape.
Apache helicopters do train in Wiltshire, Somerset, Hampshire, those sorts of areas. I mean, it's worth bearing in mind, of course, that a large proportion of Wiltshire is actually military land, so it shouldn't surprise people that they're seeing military helicopters in these sorts of areas.
The official line from the British government or the British military or the police is that the crop circles are criminal damage, end of story.
So we just talked to the farmer who owns the land behind us, and he says this one is fake, this circle that came down. It has pegs in the middle, it's been laid down by boards, but he says back about 15 years ago, he actually had some real ones come down, at least 3. The first one, he says, was a heliacal spiral. The next one came down with a spiral in the opposite direction. He said it was so interesting that the Ministry of Defence actually came here to investigate. And they surrounded this whole area looking for crop circles.
I'm not aware of that, and certainly I don't think it happened while I was on the UFO project. There's also a well-known psychological phenomenon where some people enjoy impersonating, for example, police officers. Impersonating paramedics, and these people go to the lengths of getting the uniforms, the vehicles. I don't rule out the possibility that some people are doing the same with the military. After all, what could be, if you were a fantasy-prone personality, more glamorous than pretending to be a member of a secret unit investigating crop circles for the government?
Some success. Last night, their cameras apparently recorded flashing lights in the sky, and this morning at dawn, lo and behold, there were circles in one of the fields. On the line now from Wiltshire is Colin Andrews of Operation Blackbird. Mr. Andrews, good morning.
Good morning to you.
What happened?
Well, we do have a major event here. Very much excitement, as you can imagine.
Operation Blackbird was an attempt by the crop circle research community to mount a covert surveillance on a field where many formations had appeared in previous years.
We were filming 24 hours a day. We were where the data told us we should be. The whole idea was to capture a crop circle forming.
Now, they claimed, firstly, that a formation did indeed appear. They subsequently claimed that there was military interest in this.
We were on Ministry of Defence land, there with permission of the Ministry of Defence.
Operation Blackbird was not a military operation. It was a civilian initiative at which it was subsequently claimed there was some military interest and involvement.
On the second day, they were setting up their satellite dishes and so on, and I was being told that I would be going on air live at breakfast time, first light. At that moment, a D notice was issued from the Ministry of Defence to stop transmissions on site.
I've never come across a case of a D notice being used to prevent a story about UFOs or crop circles being published.
I was there on site and saw equipment being closed down. I have to thank one person who had the courage to step forward, a very well-known person in Great Britain, of Dave Barrett, a television and radio presenter who's well known there, who stepped forward and has publicly gone on the record as saying he was on air that day when the D notice was placed in position. The MOD, Nick Pope or anybody else can say what they like. It was implemented that day and we have the evidence of it.